Hey, welcome back, MFers. Been a while, haven't seen you since the draft. But we're here. We're here to catch up on everything NFL, NBA, WNBA, NHL. Didn't even bring up my hockey tabs. Unfortunately, the legendary Jim Brown passed away. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about the NBA playoffs going on right now. As a matter of fact, Nate is balls deep in it. You know, he's a big LeBron fan.
Don't do that.
We're going to be talking strength of schedule in the NFL. We're going to be talking some fantasy stuff and a whole lot more. So thank you for joining us. And we are mostly football. Boom. Hello, everyone. We are your hosts. I am Dylan, a.k.a. Jerry White Rice. And this is my co-host, Nate. Nate, how you doing tonight?
Oh, man, I'm doing pretty good.
I see you still have the man, Drake London, behind you there.
Of course.
Looking for big things out of him this season. Breakout year.
He gonna have to. He gonna have to.
It's a breakout year. So while you're in it, while you're watching it, why don't you tell us what's going on with the Lakers and the Nuggets right now?
Well, it's the closing right now. Right now we're sitting at halftime. I think it's 58-55. Jamal Murray is on fire right now. He has 30 points in the first half. He is 13 for 20. I think he slowed down a little. I think he fizzled out a little bit towards the end of the second quarter. But hopefully Jokic can help him out. Aaron Gordon can help him out. He don't really need a lot of production from them, but he gonna need some help because he's not gonna beat the Lakers by himself.
Right. Yeah, I was surprised the Joker didn't have that many points tonight because he's been lights out along with Murray.
He had 5.3 fouls, so we're gonna see how he plays in the second half. I think he's gonna come. He has to come out aggressive. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think he's gonna come out extremely aggressive.
We've got this here from Yahoo Sports. Los Angeles Lakers dropped 2 straight games for the first time in 2 months, falling into an 0-2 hole in the Western Conference Finals as the series switches to Los Angeles for games 3 and 4. LeBron James looked like he was running on fumes in game 2.
Oh, for sure. They look like that now. Like they look exhausted. Yeah, I mean, they closed they were down 14 and they closed the gap, but they look tired. And it's the age on LeBron is starting to show. Like he'll have bursts of energy here and there, but that exhaustion is starting to show. That age is starting to show.
And I told you before the show, I can't believe, like, with all this time, all the moves they've made to bring in, guys like Russell and Schroeder, and obviously AD was the big one, but like LeBron's still the only one scoring. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, AD's leading. He has 15 points right now and 11 rebounds, but at the same time, it's like you're gonna need more than that. You're gonna need more. You're gonna need more than that to beat them.
Yeah.
The Lakers are shooting what they said at 48%. I mean, so the field goal percentages for both teams is damn near even. One's 50%, the other one's 48%. So we're gonna see how the second half goes.
Yeah, I mean, Murray's been great. Porter's been hitting some good shots, and obviously Joker's been awesome. So it's been taking a lot. I mean, even when the Lakers managed to go on a run and get a nice little lead going, I mean, the Nuggets managed to chew it up right away.
Yep, and that's what's been happening. That's why it's the way it is. It's like every time the Lakers catch momentum, the Nuggets go down and they hit a big 3, or they'll go down and get a and one. So we're gonna see how they do defensively. They don't have any answer for Jamal Murray, but they're gonna need production he's gonna need help from his other players. That's for sure.
Yeah, I saw the other night it was starting to work a little better. Instead of having AD on Joker, they put LeBron on Jokic, and that seemed to slow him down a little bit. But still, I mean, Murray was able to take his shots and do whatever he wanted.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. The second half started, so we're gonna see how it plays out.
This one we've got from NBA.com from
Jimmy
John
Butler.
That's right, baby. John Schumann. I'm assuming is how you name that. A little extra H there, and an N.
He is that guy.
Jimmy.
He gonna be the reason. Everyone's saying that if he wins a ring this year, it's gonna be right up there with Dirk's ring, and I agree. If he wins a ring this year, it's gonna be as meaningful as Dirk's ring was, and that's a 3-pointer. There we go. See, Mr. Caldwell Pope, he's hit a couple big threes in the first half. So we'll see if he can continue this.
Not contagious.
Yeah.
So Mr. Schumann says, for the third time in these playoffs, the Miami Heat have won Game 1 on the road. On Wednesday, they came back from a 13-point deficit to steal home court advantage in the Eastern Conference Finals from the Boston Celtics with a 123-116 victory. Jimmy Butler led the way once again, filling the box score with 35 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 steals. He was simply awesome. And having a star in a team like that certainly makes it easier to deal with a double-digit deficit. So they go on to quote Butler here and Eric Spoelstra. I guess it's just Spoelstra. The Miami Heat went beyond Butler. The offense went beyond Butler. 5 of the other 6 Heat players who logged at least 10 minutes also scored at least 15 points. Wow. As registered its most efficient offensive performance since Game 1 of the first round.
Boston had their chance last year, and I didn't even think they belonged there. I didn't think they belonged there last year, but it's showing that they're not as good as people hype them up to be. So they're going to get swept. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt of winning one game in Miami, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt they win a game in Miami. I mean, honestly, I think they might end up sweeping them.
Open man. Let's see. What's the fifth one here? Celtics go big again. A big reason the Celtics came back from a 3-2 deficit in the conference semis was a lineup change. Williams starting instead of Derek White in Game 6 and 7. This is a very different series, but Missoula stuck with the double bigs look for Game 1. It didn't work. The starting lineup was outscored by 10 points and nearly 9 minutes on the floor. And like the Heat, Celtics had reserved Brogdon instead of Williams on the floor down the stretch.
LeBron's limping. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
That's another 3 from Contavious Caldwell-Pope.
Oh, no, not Brown.
9-point game. Yeah, he a little gimpy. Either that or he was doing what he usually do, fake an injury so he don't have to play defense.
Up another one here. Ooh. Wow.
Michael Porter Jr. Oh, the man rattled out.
I saw a couple. I was looking up Brittany Griner articles here, and I saw a couple that were like, why she stood up for the national anthem. I think we know why she stood up for the national anthem.
She got this shit on repeat. She had this shit on repeat on her Spotify playlist. There's another 3. He hit it.
She brushes her teeth to the national anthem now.
Hey, so her head coach is a little pissed off with LA.
Really?
Yeah, her coach.
Wrapping up the point.
He twisted his ankle. No, so it was her first game back, and they was expecting a sellout crowd. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
No, there was no sellout crowd.
Hey,
so
listen.
She got it, and she was a little pissy about it. She was like, "Really, LA, bitch? First of all, no one cares. We didn't care before, and they don't care now. Y'all can't sit and talk shit about this made up patriarchy, and then talk shit about this country, and then expect people to give a shit. No one cares."
Yeah. It is interesting. It seems like when it comes to thoughts and prayers, I mean, they were definitely sold out. But when it comes to actually getting buns in the seats,
the people who talk about why the WNBA is not successful and this and that, and why no one pay, they don't even watch They don't even watch sports in general. They just go by what they see on Twitter and Facebook.
Well, listen. Before we get into this article, I think I should let everyone know, and you know, that I am fully supporting the WNBA right now. I, in fact, went to search for games the other night and ended up, Nate, buying the WNBA League Pass on YouTube.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm in it, baby. I am in it to win it.
How much did you spend on that?
$8 a month.
Oh, never mind. Okay. Because the NBA, their League Pass is kind of pricey.
Apparently, I'm getting some sort of discount, or some sort of like.
You getting. They give you what you get.
I'm getting the whole 360 view, the bird's eye view. I could do anything I want for $8. It's crazy.
I think their season is only like 3 months.
It is only 3 months.
July. Yeah, I think it ends before. No, is it July? I think it ends right before. I think it ends right as preseason starts.
And the rosters are crazy. Like, it's one of the few leagues where like first round picks don't always make it on the team.
No.
The rosters are nuts.
Yeah, I said I was gonna try. Based off what I saw with the college, I was like, maybe I give it a try for sure. So I might try to catch a game or two. Now if I make it, the question is, am I gonna make it through the game? That's gonna be the question.
So here's when you have skin in the game, like I do through fantasy players.
Oh. So you're trying to get some money off of them?
It's a free league. That's how much of a freak I am. Is just having that I could win a game that doesn't matter is enough for me to watch the whole game. And I'll say this, there were layups for days, a lot more bricks that I'm used to seeing in a basketball game, just totally missing the backboard and rim. About the second quarter, their legs really start to leave them, and they got no jump shot anymore.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But it is really, it was the first game of the season. Friday night was opening night, so you can see there were plenty of girls. My girl, Aaliyah Boston, number 1 pick this year from South Carolina. She was huffing and puffing in the first quarter. She needs some conditioning, but ended up with a great game. I mean, she plays some tough ball. She gets down there and she goes, she puts her ass right into the girl next to her, and then she puts the ball right in the hoop.
They had 10,396 people show up.
But yeah, I mean, there was some fun stuff. This
what stadium did they play in? Who did they play first of all? They played. So did they play in the crypto arena, or do they have like a high school gym they play in?
Good question. Yeah, did they get in that crypto.com? I mean, was Matt Damon there or what?
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure like what arena they play. Because if they played in where the Lakers play at, and you only got 10 people, you only got 10,000 people in there. Yeah, you for sure failed. That's a failure.
It got physical. The game I was watching at one point, it was Fever versus Connecticut, and it was funny. The 2 players I actually really like. I wanted Alyssa Thomas. I've been trying to make a deal for Alyssa Thomas. Didn't happen. And boy, she was on fire the other night. And there was one point in the game where she's down in the paint with my girl Aaliyah Boston, and I see Aaliyah kind of do this move where she subtly elbows Alyssa Thomas in the face. It was like a classic, pro basketball move. Like, I'm going to get the ball, but really I'm elbowing you in the face. And so then, as they're running down the court, they're right next to each other, and Aaliyah Boston goes to put her hand on Alyssa Thomas's arm, and Alyssa Thomas does this crazy, like, Olympic track move where she throws both her arms back and punches Aaliyah Boston in the face on the way. And they called the foul. It wasn't a technical, but it was just a very fun part of the game that I think Boston was bleeding for a second.
So maybe they get some physicality. They need to get some physicality in those games.
I got this girl. She's a woman. I'll say she's a woman. Arike Agumbawale for Dallas. My God. She's my point guard, and she moves like Pikachu. She's all over the place. She does these jump steps, and
yeah. Let me get his 4th foul. And for Dallas? What's Dallas?
Yeah, for the Wings. The Dallas Wings.
I might have to check. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm gonna check it out.
It's if you got $8.
I'm not investing into. I don't invest into leagues until I'm not investing in that. Oh, he didn't even touch Anthony Davis. Oh, get the fuck out of here. They tried to call a foul. Man, there was no contact. He's flopping.
Oh, did you see this? U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris was among the 10,000 in attendance.
What? I need to know what arena they played in. Oh yeah, they played. They're just right there. They played in the. They played in the crypto arena.
Oh damn.
They played. Let me see something. Hold on. I gotta see something.
You check out the picture?
No, I wanna see
oh yeah,
the occupancy.
Okay. It was 10,396 in attendance.
So the crypto arena capacity.
Oh,
So so it can hold up to 20,000. So they did half of that.
hey.
So I mean, that's
So
not
they blacked out half the stadium.
basically.
They do that sometimes for
But you
Syracuse
got to think
teams.
about it. But you also got to put this into perspective. So they hold 20,000. Not everybody is going to sit in one area. So you're going to have like 10,000 people spread out in a 20,000 seat arena. It looks bad. It looks spotty.
So this is interesting. So this is the first time I've seen just imprisoned in Russia. Only down here, later in the article, does it say the U.S. State Department declared Griner to be wrongfully detained.
She was not wrong. I'm not going down that road again. It's a dead horse.
Here's why. Because it says right here, illegal in Russia.
Right there. And you put it. You can't you can't say she was wrongfully detained and in the same breath, in the same fucking article, say, but medical marijuana is illegal in Russia. What the fuck, man?
So it's illegal, but I mean, she's wrongfully.
They like a snake that eats itself. At some point, they're going to eat them. They fuck up.
Listen, I give her a lot of credit because only after she was imprisoned that old smoking Joe Biden decided it was time to make federal marijuana.
No.
I forget what he even did. He made it
he made it. So basically he just I think he changed it on the federal.
He decriminalized it.
He decriminalized it on a federal level.
Yeah.
No one's in jail on federal marijuana charges.
No one.
So it doesn't affect anybody that's in jail for weed charges. No.
Yeah, your local county jails are still filled up with black men who are charged with possession of marijuana.
100%. So it's all bogus.
So
it's like, well, he changed. No, he did it on a federal level. He just you idiots are just so blinded by this dude and his inability. I just don't understand his inability to talk. I can't stand her goddamn face.
Ooh, how about that? That's a photo right there.
What's the ruling on this? I can't stand her goddamn face. I can't.
It still scares the hell out of me. I mean, it's bad enough right now, but we're one trip down the stairs away from her being president.
Yeah, for sure. Remember he broke his leg early in his term. He either broke it or he fell. Remember he fell in the shower because he said that he thought his dog's tail was his towel. So he grabbed the dog's tail and took off and dragged him out the shower. Oh, they gave him that.
Our president, our commander in chief, almost died wagging his dog, touching his dog's tail in the shower. The whole thing is ridiculous.
In the shower.
Golly. Oh yeah. So that's that.
Anthony Davis built like fiberglass. Man, I don't want to say what he always just crying. You're too big to be crying. Man up. I'm happy we got rid of his ass.
Yeah. There's some guys that you just with their size, you wish they had a different attitude. If Anthony Davis had, Rasheed Wallace's attitude.
Yeah, if Rasheed Wallace had the size that Anthony Davis has and the skill set, the Pistons would have had way more than just one championship, and that's a 3.
That's what you see that a lot in football. I mean, they say that's why Christian Gonzalez fell all the way to New England because during the interviews, he just didn't show that same dog that Devin Witherspoon had in him. And I'm worried about that with Ringo, to be honest. Ringo's a big boy. He's fast, but I don't feel like he really...
Keely?
Yeah.
Don't worry about Keely. He's going to be fine. Trust me. He's going to be fine. He's going to be perfectly fine. I can tell you that much. Keely Ringo is going to be fine. You ain't got to worry about that.
Well, they got him in the 4th, so it's definitely a great value.
I'm gonna put it to ladies. Everybody you draft is going to make your defense better. If your defensive coordinator plays them the way they should be played. If he plays to their strengths like Kirby did, your defense is gonna be fine. But if he wants to do dumb shit, you have a problem.
Yeah, I think I like Desai. Seems like most people like him so far.
Like Nakobe Dean, he can cover, but I would definitely you definitely want him rushing the passer majority of his play on the field.
So this was big news that happened recently, and especially me being from the Syracuse area. You know, I was only about 30 minutes away from Old 44 up there. Big Jim Brown. This from ABC News. Legendary running back and civil rights pioneer dead at 87. By Mark Osborne, Jim Brown was elected to the Pro Bowl Hall of Fame in 1971. A pre-natural talent, a preternatural. I've never seen that one. Preternatural. Wow, it's a good word. On the football field and later, both a movie star and civil rights activist has died. He was 87 years old. His wife, Monique Brown, announced his death on Instagram. Quotes from her.
87 years is a long life.
Damn, how about that? How about that face mask for a guy who was regularly smashing faces with people?
Fuck that. I don't know how they managed. That helmet didn't have any cushion. There was no support. It was just fucking patch of leather on your head with 2 plastic bars on it.
He was chosen for the NFL's 50th, 75th, and 100th anniversary teams and selected as the greatest college football player of all time at the 2020 College National Championship. He was born in tiny St. Simons, Georgia, but developed a legendary athletic career after moving to Manhasset, New York, on Long Island as a boy. He excelled in every sport he tried, but especially football and lacrosse. He played both at Syracuse University and would become a Hall of Famer in both. I did not know that. It was a Hall of Famer in lacrosse. How about that?
Can't say that for a lot of black people.
You know what? That's a good-ass point. Of all the sports that we make fun of black people for not playing, you know, swimming, hockey, lacrosse never crosses my mind.
Yeah, not too many black people play lacrosse.
TJ in the house, the greatest college football player of all time was and still is Tim Tebow.
Someone's been drinking already.
Someone's been hitting that whiskey.
Pretty much. Did they call a foul? They called a foul. What the
I was actually surprised. I did see a stat. It was like the top scoring offenses of recently. And Florida was on there twice, but it was in the 90s. I was surprised Tebow's...
Yeah. In the 90s, they were great in the 90s.
Yeah, I was surprised Tebow's Gators weren't up there, though.
They probably had the greatest... That year, they probably had the greatest team ever made. Because they had Cam, I think it was him and Cam on the same team at one point. Then they had... what's his name? What's the killer's name? The tight end.
Oh, Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah, I had Aaron Hernandez and a couple other people on there.
While filming The Dirty Dozen in 1966, he walked away from football permanently when Brown's owner Art Modell demanded he return to training camp. The Dirty Dozen was a major box office hit, grossing over $45 million in 1967, more than $500 million in 2020, adjusted for inflation. Woo-hoo, that inflation, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's something.
Brown would go on to star in 19 more films, holy shit, often as the lead. In 1960s and 1970s, this includes hits like The Split, Riot, Ice Station Zebra, that's a good title, and 100 Rifles, where an interracial love scene with Raquel Welch was among the first in a major movie. How about that? How about Jim Brown being the first to tag a white lady on TV?
Hey, breaking barriers.
Damn, that must make you happy. During his 9-year NFL career, which coincided with the civil rights movement here at home, he became a forerunner and role model for athletes being involved in social initiatives outside their sport. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said in a statement he inspired fellow athletes to make a difference, especially in the communities in which they lived. As a leading black athlete and star in the 1960s and 70s, he never avoided speaking out against racial injustice. He founded an organization called A Mayor I Can in the 1980s to help young people in gangs reform their lives and often worked with incarcerated people. Oh, little dirt here. I don't know if I want to get into this, but while he became an influential activist, Brown's life was regularly marred by violence, especially toward women. Ooh.
Really? Was this necessary to put in here?
I know. It's kind of weird at the end here. In 1965, Jesus, he was charged with assault and battery against an 18-year-old woman.
Well, why? Why was that necessary to put in there?
3 years later, he was charged with the assault after his girlfriend, model Eva Bon Chin, was found on the ground beneath a second-floor balcony at his home. Bon Chin, I'm probably saying that wrong.
Kick a man when he's dead.
Refused to cooperate in the case, and the charges were later dropped. So bring up 2 cases where nothing stuck.
Right. Kick a man when he's dead.
He was charged with rape, sexual battery, and assault in 1985, but those charges were later dropped. Brown had 3 children with his first wife, Sue. They divorced in 1968. He married his wife, Monique, in 1997. They had 2 children.
Why was all that necessary? Why was all that unnecessary information? Why did you put that in there?
I feel like some purple-haired white woman.
Who wrote that? Who wrote this article?
Oh, wait, that was actually a dude.
Let me see.
Mark Osborne.
Let's
go ahead and get him on blast here. Oh, Mark, you're lucky you don't have a photo.
I bet he's a white guy.
I bet you're right.
Like what? I never understand. Like why? Just leave that part of their life out. That's not necessary. Like, who cares?
That did seem like a bit much. Yeah.
If nothing stuck, who cares?
And there's got to be plenty of other articles on that stuff.
Just fucking that's stupid. That's fucking stupid. But yeah, it's always. I mean, for me, it's sad when you lose a legend, but he was 87, so he lived a long, fruitful life.
That's true. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. TJ is actually bringing up what I'm about to show right here because this was one of my favorite movies at the time. Mars Attack. God, this was a great film.
Oh my God, that movie was awful. That was a terrible, terrible movie. The amount of stars that was in this movie, they all should just be slapped. Like, how?
I mean, I don't want to bring attention to any certain part of this photo here, but my God,
this movie was awful. I'm not gonna. This is a terrible movie. It was god awful.
That's the best photo I've ever seen in my life.
Jesus, this was not a good movie at all. It was not good. It was terrible. I hated it.
Oh yeah. Look at the man. He's about to get more interracial action going on there.
Jesus.
Yeah, so our boy Jim Brown, unfortunately, is no longer with us. And it sucks. He's definitely a big part of Syracuse. That's for sure.
Best thing that ever came out of Cleveland.
Yeah, my God. Probably still is.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's nothing better. There's not been a player since Jim Brown that's actually dominated for Cleveland.
So Nate, would you like to get into some of the rookies you brought up, or did you want to get into the schedule? Let's do the schedule.
Oh, you want to do the schedule?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go and do the schedule.
So first, we'll bring up who has the easiest and who has the hardest when it comes to schedules this year, according to Sharp Football Analysis, and I think plenty of others, but I just went to Sharp for this one because I know they're always up on the stats. And according to the Sharp Football Analysis, let me bring it up here. The top 5 teams as far as easiest schedules go are as follows. Number 5, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 4, the Carolina Panthers. Number 3, the Indianapolis Colts. Number 2, your Atlanta Falcons. And number 1, the New Orleans Saints.
So what I'm hearing is that we actually have a chance to actually do something this year. We may actually have a chance to win the division.
Hey, you got the second easiest schedule, and you got a lot of firepower now on offense.
Yeah. We hooked up. We went and did some big things in the defense. Guess what? You want to know what's funny?
What's funny?
Jeff Okudah got traded to Atlanta, right?
Yes.
So you know what what I do is I screen apartment applications. I got his application.
Really?
Yeah, really. I had to talk to him on the phone.
Oh, dude. How about that? You tell him good luck, and you think he's going to dominate, or tell him he sucks?
Ain't good.
You say, hey, get better transitions in your feet. Trust your eyes out there, buddy.
But I think what we did, like I said, this has probably been a better season we've had, and I think we did enough because everyone's complaining like, oh, they should have went edge or went for defense on in the draft. I'm like, nah, I think we did enough. I mean, we brought in a couple former first round picks for corner. We got Jesse Bates. We brought in some edge rushers. Who we got Bud Dupree and a couple other people. So I think what we did on defense was fine, and then us taking Bijan was probably the right thing. It was the right thing to do. God, boy, here they go.
I mean, I personally do think, I think Carter would have been the right move there. I'm not going to lie. A consensus, number one guy on most people's boards. And, I do worry about the depth on the D line. I do think I'm still optimistic about Ebiketie, and I think Bud Dupree is going to be good. I think if those guys step up as pass rushers, do they have Lozo Carter? Is he on the Giants? I think
No,
they
he's
have.
still there. Lorenzo Carter. No, he's there. We re-signed him.
Okay, so yes, I think between those, three, maybe another
I
guy
think
in
Rashad
there.
Evans is still there too. If I'm
But
not mistaken.
I do worry about, Calais Campbell, Eddie Goldman, who retired and then came out of retirement, and Grady Jarrett's been beat up his whole career because he's the only one there. So if they have to dig into their depth, I think that's when they're going to suffer the most on
But
DL.
I think Calais Campbell and like Eddie Goldman, I think those guys are going to be like your third down, like I think they might use them for like first and like third and long type situations.
Yeah.
Like your run down and obviously your obvious passing downs. But I think we'll be fine as far as depth goes.
The theme I noticed among these five teams is all essentially new quarterbacks.
Yep.
I mean,
Every one of
we
them has a
don't
new quarterback. Well, except for we don't know what San Francisco is going to do.
we don't
But
know with San Francisco yet.
everyone, the general consensus is Brock Purdy is going to be their starter if he's healthy.
Right. But we don't know that for sure.
Yeah, we don't
And
know if he's going to be healthy or not. So
they traded up, in the first round to get Trey Lance. And I'll be honest, I know you're probably going to think this is insane. I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Darnold starts a few games for the Niners this year.
I don't think that's going to happen. You got to trust Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy is healthy or Trey Lance is healthy, you got to trust them guys. You can't trade up to get a guy in the first round and not trust him. And then you have Brock Purdy took you to the NFC Championship, and you just can't. You got to trust one of those guys.
Yeah, that would be
Sam
great.
Darnold has not proved himself whatsoever.
How do you, now that we've had all this time, to assess and sit back and some moves have been made and the roster, it is what it is right now. What are your thoughts on Anthony Richardson in Indy?
He's going to play well. If Jonathan Taylor can beat Jonathan Taylor from 2 years ago, not last year, he's going to be fine. Because that'll take a lot of pressure off of him, especially on like your early downs, first and second down. Jonathan Taylor has to be Jonathan Taylor of old. If not, then he gonna struggle.
Yeah.
Because then you're gonna put a lot of pressure on your young quarterback and expect him to make plays. He's a project for sure. I'm just gonna be honest. Anthony Richardson is he's going to be he's for sure a project. But I think they'll get it. I think he'll adjust pretty quickly. Because who's his head coach?
They have Steichen, who he's with the Panthers now.
Oh, Frank, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they have Shane Steichen, who was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles last year.
Oh, so he gonna be fine because he took care of Jalen Hurts. Oh yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah, he don't find a way. He don't find a way to play to his strengths.
Yep, that's what most people are saying. That's why they drafted him, for the upside and the mobility factor, and him being familiar with Hurts.
Weapons.
I don't mind their weapons. I like Michael Pittman a lot. Not so crazy about Pierce right now. I think Pierce has he's a lot to prove, especially if he was drafted. Josh Downs, I think, it was a great draft pick. He'll probably be a slot receiver right away. And Jelani Woods, he had some good games last year, so I don't think the weapons are bad. Maybe the depth. If you have to test their depth, yeah, that's going to get rough.
And I think with tight end, they got Moelle Cox, and then
Jelani Woods, yeah.
So, man, that's not that worries me for a young quarterback.
Yeah,
like that worries me for a young quarterback.
Well, and before the draft, I was telling my buddies, like, before I knew where he was going, I was watching Richardson, and maybe I hadn't watched enough yet because I was like, if nothing else, he could at least be what Justin Fields was for the Bears last year. Like, he could be running around doing his thing, and maybe he'll figure out the passing. But Justin Fields had a lot of games. He played a lot more games than Richardson did, so that's kind of yeah. Okay, so yeah, the thing was, like, Justin Fields already had a lot more experience than Richardson, so I don't know if that was necessarily a fair assessment analysis for me to just bring up for Richardson right away. I mean, kid's played, I think, as many games as Mitch Trubisky played, like, when he came out, so maybe a few more, but yeah, Richardson definitely has a huge ceiling. And with that offensive line and Indy and the defense, DeForest Buckner and other guys in the front, you really hope that they can sort of make up for the lack of experience. And then I guess he's not really even guaranteed to start. I mean, who knows? Gardner Minshew is there. I know he's been a bridge quarterback, a transitional quarterback his whole career, but he's also played some good football. And if we're talking about a team that has a chance to win an AFC South where the Titans are a mess, the Texans are rebuilding, and you have the Jags, who had a great year last year, but you got to count on that again. If they can get that same performance out of Trevor Lawrence, then fine. But if this division's up for grabs and Gardner looks better than Richardson, it's going to be tough to give the young guy a chance if you got a real opportunity to win the division. So that'll be interesting to see.
Let's see. I don't think you can't. You got to give Anthony Richardson a start. You have to let him
just right away. Let everyone know.
Yeah, you have to. I feel like you have to, because Gardner Minshew he's serviceable. He's good for like last year when Jalen Hurts got hurt. Like, he's serviceable. Like, he helped. He'll come in. He'll keep you in a game. I mean, he's not going to do a lot of spectacular things, but he'll keep you in a game.
Yep.
So I think I don't think they drafted him just to sit him behind Gardner Minshew. I definitely don't think that's going to happen. So, and I mean, this AFC South is going to be wide open. There's no clear favorites.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would say the Jags are probably favored right now, but I can't imagine by much, especially when
I can't.
Tannehill back. And
they were up and down a lot last year. They had a couple lucky plays. I mean, you look at the Cowboys game. If Dak don't fucking shit the bed like he always does, they lose that game. I don't see them as a clear. I can't see them as a clear favorite. There's just not. They didn't do a lot for me to say, yeah, there's gonna be a clear favorite.
I don't know for sure, but if
Houston gonna have a problem though, that's for sure. I mean, you got CJ Stroud. You got CJ Stroud. But you don't have the weapons. He don't know how to throw the ball to.
It's murky, yeah.
It's murky. Murky is not the word.
There's some guys I would be optimistic about, but it's definitely murky.
He is probably, out of all the quarterbacks that were drafted, he is probably in the worst situation possible. The next worst situation will be Will Levis, but I don't see him starting. But the CJ Stroud is probably in the absolute worst situation out of all the young quarterbacks.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Because I mean, Dameon Pierce, you got him, so that's a good thing. At least you got a running game.
Yeah.
But as far as having receivers, pass catchers, yeah, that's a no-go. They miss. They miss.
But I could see a path where if DeMeco Ryans lights a fire under these young guys, Nico Collins, if Mechie's healthy, and then they drafted Tank Dell out of Houston, who was making guys.
Got Mechie.
Yeah. So that's something. And then if you get anything out of Robert Woods and Noah Brown, I mean, that's just a bonus.
I mean, Robert Woods is at best you use him for short yardage.
He's been around.
He's not the same guy. He don't have that same. Yeah. I don't. I mean, John Mechie's probably the best thing they're gonna have, but again, he ain't played football in over 2 years,
right?
Because he tore the ACL and he missed that time, and then this cancer thing. So he ain't played football in almost 2 years.
Yep.
So
yeah, that'll be real interesting.
We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see how this is gonna play out.
Last team I want to talk about here. I feel like I know how you feel about him, but just for the sake of bringing it up in content, how do you feel about Derek Carr in New Orleans? Are you scared of Derek Carr?
Trash. He again. He's one of those serviceable quarterbacks. He's a quarterback that we saw what he did with the Raiders. We all saw that. We saw his tenure with the Raiders. He'll have good games here and there. He's sporadic. Like he'll have a good game one game, and then he'll shit the bed and throw interceptions the next game. The Saints offense is okay. I mean, they got Michael Thomas back, but who knows if he gonna make it? He might get hurt again.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing.
They don't have a lot of big names. And that's another team that's hurting for pass catchers. They got a bunch of young guys at the receiving core. I mean, they play great, but you're going to rely on them to get you through the season and the postseason? Yeah,
right.
It's not.
I mean, their best case scenario is they have this schedule, and if Michael Thomas is healthy all year, and if Alvin Kamara doesn't miss time, then they could make a run in this wide open NFC South, but I don't see either of those two things happening. I think Kamara is going to miss time between the suspension.
The suspension.
Yeah. And then you have, I mean, Michael Thomas, we had all the optimism in the world last season he was going to be back, and it did not pan out. So
yeah, and it's injury. We're like I said, we're gonna see if he's gonna hold up.
Yeah,
I don't think he is, but we'll see.
You know, fantasy wise, just real quick, you're looking at another probably underrated year from Juwan Johnson at tight end. You know, Derek Carr definitely has looked at tight end the past few years with Darren Waller, so Johnson's there. And then you talked about it, not much depth at receiver, so it could be another big year for Chris Olave.
Yeah, Chris. I mean, again, you still got to debate on it. Can Michael Thomas make it through the season? How are they going to look without Alvin Kamara if and when he missed time?
Yeah. So the teams with the hardest schedules in 2023, according to Sharp Football Analysis. Number 1, New England Patriots. Number 2, Las Vegas Raiders. 3, Miami Dolphins. 4, Buffalo Bills. 5, Kansas City Chiefs. And right off the bat, Nate, you'll notice that all of these teams hail from the AFC. Yep. And that just shows you how stacked the quarterbacks are in this division this year, with Aaron Rodgers moving over, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. It's going to be tough sledding.
I can tell you this much right now. If the Vegas have the second hardest schedule in the AFC or in the NFL at all, yeah, they looking at nothing, because they got Jimmy G out there, no Darren Waller, you got Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, but man, it's good block.
Josh Jacobs is one of those guys where you feel like he has to be a lot older than he really is, just because of all the hits and the carries he's had.
And that's the thing. He got to carry this team, because we all know how Jimmy G is.
Yep.
Jimmy G that's a block. Jimmy G he's serviceable. I'm gonna use that word again. That's the word I'm using for quarterbacks now. Serviceable.
Hey, I like it.
And he'll win you games, but he not gonna. It's gonna be ugly. It ain't gonna be nothing spectacular. And they didn't really do much in the draft. A lot of people like their drafts, but I didn't see enough. I mean, as far, like I said, outside of pass catchers, they have Devontae Adams, they have Hunter Renfrow, but other than that, it gets kind of dicey at that point. You lost a few tight ends.
Yes, they did lose Waller.
He left, and then Moreau left, and he was with the Saints now.
Yeah. They did bring in Jacoby Myers from the Patriots, who had a pretty good season last year.
It was
I
all
would
right.
say he's an upgrade, or at least a lateral move from Mac Hollins.
Mac Hollins had one of his best seasons last year.
So did Jacoby Myers.
So I mean, it's more of a lateral move. Let's go with lateral movement. I don't think
Okay,
it's an upgrade. I don't
that's
see it
fair.
as an upgrade. I see it as a
That's,
lateral movement.
that's fair. Definitely a downgrade from Waller to Austin Hooper, no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely a downgrade.
And then even if Michael Mayer is good, I mean, rookie tight ends normally don't have a big impact year one, so that'll be tough.
He's gonna get a lot of looks.
He'll get looks for
He's
sure.
gonna get a lot of looks because Jimmy G is he's gonna probably look for a blanket because that's what him and George Kittle did. Like he looked for a safety blanket, so he might be able to, he might make a name. He might make some noise this year.
And they did nothing as far as adding running backs. So if you're
No.
Josh Jacobs' owner, then you're safe this year. You're good to go.
Pretty
Amir Abdullah still and Kazir White. Or not Kazir White. Zamir White.
Yeah, Zamir White's there. Yeah, Zamir White's there.
Yeah.
So, and he didn't show up a lot last year because they had enough backs, but I think him and Josh Jacobs could make some noise this year.
How good does Mac Jones have to be this year for you to say he's their quarterback of the future? Because I don't think he's proved it yet.
He's gonna have to make some strides, like some major strides. I'm talking about like he's gonna have to win some big games, some close games.
You're gonna have to see him actually win a game, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hold on, let's do this. Let's do.
And then I mean Miami, I definitely like most of what they have going. It's just Tua scares the hell out of me.
I think he scares the hell out of a lot of people.
Buffalo and Kansas City. I mean, it's not hard to see why they have tough schedules.
So Mac Jones this season is going to have to do this for me. I didn't want to press that button. Let's do this. See more. All right. So their schedule is as follows. So they have Eagles week 1. He's going to have to. So you got Eagles week 1. Then you come back against the Dolphins, back against the Jets, then the Cowboys, Saints, Raiders, Buffalo, Dolphins, and then Commanders. That slate right there alone can go either way. You're either going to be under 500, or you can somehow manage to be over. But yeah, so week 1 you got Jalen Hurts, Tua, Aaron Rodgers, Dak, Derek Carr, Jimmy G, Josh Allen, then Tua again, and then whoever the hell Commanders throw at quarterback.
So, and, it's just a big year to have that type of stretch.
5, 6, 7, 8. So your first 9 games, it can go either way. You could be in the hunt for the playoffs by the time you get to the Commanders, or you can be well on your way out. So it's a hit or miss for them. Mac Jones he's gonna have to play well this season for me to say, for him to get that contract. But I mean, you think about it, the Patriots never really paid Tom Brady a massive contract.
He was always taking cuts.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, is Mac Jones willing to do that?
Yeah. And his weapons this year, I mean, they added Juju, they added Mike Gesicki.
I like those two. I did. I like Mike Gesicki. I don't like Juju. I like Gesicki at tight end. I don't really like Juju at the tight end at the receiver position. I feel like you kind of downgraded after losing Jacoby Myers. That's another one. That's another he got to show up. Like, are you still that same player from Pittsburgh? Or are you just going to flounder like you always do?
Well, yeah, he actually ended up having a pretty decent season last season, but it wasn't really until, it was spotty. And then finally in the Super Bowl, he did a few things. But yeah, he's definitely not the player that we thought he would be coming out of Pittsburgh.
No, that's for sure.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for schedules. Nate, did you want to get into the rookies?
Absolutely, as always. That's what we're here for.
So we're gonna bring up right now some rookies that absolutely have a chance. As they say in South Park, they took a jobs. So we're gonna talk about some rookies this year that absolutely have a path to taking some veterans' jobs in the NFL. Nate, you wanted to go over round one, just give a real quick, position. A few guys here on offense, a few guys there on defense, and then I
So,
maybe have a few later ones. We'll see.
for me, it's going to be an immediate impact for me. I don't think right off the bat Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are going to have immediate impacts. I don't think so. I think they're going to have that learning curve, that that adjustment from college to NFL. So I think it may take some time. I don't think they're going to. I wouldn't take them early. Like, they'll be like maybe late rounds, late fifth, maybe sixth rounds. I wouldn't take them. I wouldn't take either one of those guys early.
Yeah, even if Bryce Young, even if he's really good, the weapons in Carolina aren't great between Adam Thielen and DJ Chark if he's healthy, and then Jonathan Mingo.
That was a good pickup. I like that pickup. I think if him and Bryce Young could get on the same page, I think they can have that 1-2 punch. But I still, it's. I wouldn't take him like I would do Jalen Hurts. Like, if I have an opportunity to take Jalen Hurts early, I'm for sure taking him. Like, it's not even gonna be a question.
In Dynasty, where you want a young guy connected to a young quarterback, Jonathan Mingo is a great pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's what you want. I think that's why I think a lot of teams miss. Like, if you're going to take a receiver, you got to make sure that this guy is going to, like, if you're going to take a young quarterback and a receiver late, you want to make sure that they build that chemistry so they can be there for 5 or 10 years, however you want to do it.
Yep.
Bryce Young, I think, for me, honestly, I think he's going to have a better season. I think he's probably definitely going to have a better season than CJ Stroud. And I think Will Levis at some point is going to get to start, for sure, because Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill they're for sure on their way out. That's for sure.
Willis is definitely, he does not have a home in Tennessee anymore.
But I think Bryce Young is probably going to be. He's going to have the better rookie season than those guys. As far as defense goes, it's obvious. Will Anderson, that's a big ass upgrade to that Texans defense. Now, I don't think they're going to be dominating people, but I think it's for sure he's going to be that cornerstone, like a Luke Kuechly. He's for sure going to be a cornerstone in that defense and something to build around.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I for them to trade, I mean, they had I think the 12th pick.
Yep.
And they moved all the way up to 3 with the Cardinals, right behind number 2 to bag CJ Stroud, your quarterback of the future, and a guy who a lot of people had as the best player in the entire draft, and Will Anderson, at least the best defensive player. That was huge for Houston.
Yep, absolutely. I think Devin Witherspoon is going to have a major impact on that Seattle defense. He's going to give, because they struggled a lot last year, even though they had what's his name? Was it Tyron Woodley?
Yeah, they got Tariq Woolen and Ryan Neal had a good season.
They played great last year. I think they was just. I think he might be that piece that they can rebuild. That it won't be Legion of Boom, but it'll give Geno some time. Geno won't have to play from behind a lot like he did last year.
Yeah,
it won't be like the Saints game. It won't be a lot of back and forth. I think they'll be able to get off the field on third downs. Let's see. Who else? Bijan Robinson is going to be an immediate impact for sure. Like, Arthur Smith loves running the ball. We saw it last year. Tyler Edgill I think he went over 1,000 last year. So I think Bijan is going to have an immediate impact, and you'll be able to put. And I think honestly, you'll be able to put Cordell Patterson at wide receiver now. Like, you'll be able to take him out of the backfield and move him around and do gadget plays, like the little jet sweeps and stuff like that. So I think he's going to have that impact, as he's going to be that 3 down back.
Which would be pretty big for them because, I mean, I know you don't like Zacchaeus, but losing Zacchaeus is actually he was a big play guy for them.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Why do you always say that? That man was not big part of nothing. No, he had a couple plays. No, I never understood why we kept him around so long. I never understood why we kept him around as long as we did. I'm actually happy he is gone, and you can keep him. You can have him.
Well, I definitely, getting Patterson out there will be nice, and if they can get, Jonnu Smith and Pitts to do some sort of both on the field together, that'd be nice too.
Like, and that's like for me, because I know Arthur Smith likes to run the ball, and I get it. You want to run the ball, you want to set the tone. I think if you're gonna do that, you got to add a lot of play action. Put in a lot of play action, a lot of like just stuff that's gonna play off of Desmond Ritter's strength, because he's our guy. We didn't take a quarterback, so Desmond Ritter's gonna be the guy we got to go with.
Until you got to crack a Heineken.
Do I trust him? No. Taylor Heineke is good. He can be that motivation for Desmond Ritter. He can teach him a couple things because he's been there. Taylor Heineke's been in big games. He went toe to toe with Tom Brady. Like, he's been in playoffs. He knows what it's like. So I think it's going to benefit him. But as of right now, he's our starter. So
now I had a few. Did you want to run through a few more guys?
No.
A few later guys I had in mind. Michael Wilson out of Stanford went to Arizona, and although I do like Hollywood Brown and Greg Dortch, we don't exactly know what's going to happen with DeAndre Hopkins right now. And beyond Dortch and Brown, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up as to who is out there in Arizona. So Michael Wilson is a receiver who may give you something this year, and I liked him coming out of Stanford. Guys who had as much prowess on special teams as he did in college, if he can make his way early that way as a gunner, on kickoff coverage and stuff, and then crack the lineup, I think that's how he sees his way into the field. And then we talked about Michael Mayer in Las Vegas, not being much above him. I mean, Austin Hooper, and you got O.J. Howard there to beat out, but they drafted him, top of the second round. Like you said, Jimmy G looks at the tight end often.
He's going to be a starter because you got O.J. Howard. He had a lot of hype, and he didn't live up to it. Austin Hooper just got old, honestly.
Yeah. And then Sam Laporta is a tight end out of Iowa who went to Detroit. And Detroit didn't take a guy round one. They took Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell, but came right around and before Michael Mayer took Sam Laporta. So that shows you what they think of him. He's only got to beat out Brock Wright and Shane Zylstra. And, if you've ever played fantasy football, if you've ever watched real football, you'll know that neither of those guys are a big threat to Sam Laporta. So he can see some time early.
Zylstra had a big game last year. I think he had a 4-touchdown game last year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I forgot what game it was. I think they played the Rams. I know he had a 4 touchdown. I was pissed because I needed a tight end and I didn't pick him up because I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And then he goes out and has a big fucking 4 touchdown game. I was like, great.
Zach Evans is a running back. Oop, almost saw my wife there. That was close. I try to keep her anonymous. Zach Evans is a running back from Ole Miss who was highly recruited, top-ranked high school recruit coming out. And Cam Akers, we know the story of Cam Akers in Los Angeles.
We know that.
Up and down.
Buffalo.
Yeah, he was on the team, he was off the team, he's been injured, he's been this, he's been that. And ended up having a pretty decent season last season, all things considered. But, there's no reason that Zach Evans can't beat him out on a Rams depth chart that is, especially on defense, real tough to look at. Real tough to look at. And we'll get back to the Rams because I actually want to ask you, I know as long as the guy ahead of him is healthy, he'll be playing. But I think there's a real chance that Matthew Stafford misses a few games next season, and you see
Don't
Your
do that.
boy,
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Don't
fourth
get me
round pick,
excited for this. Do
Stetson
not get
Bennett.
me. Listen, I was so excited when he got drafted, and the craziest thing is that he has a real chance of playing this year because
Yeah.
we've seen it the last 3 or 4 years. Matthew Stafford hadn't been healthy.
Yep.
Like he's had some some rushings with the injury bug. So there's a real possibility, and I've seen a couple of his I've seen a couple of videos of his off-season stuff, throwing the ball, and like it looks great, man. There's a possibility he might play this year. I'm not gonna get my hopes up, but if he does start, I will be watching the Rams game.
He's currently listed as the backup ahead of Brett Rippon. So
that guy played. He's awful. He's awful.
So I mean,
there's a real
chance of making it. Yeah,
there's a real chance that he could. There's a real chance that he could actually play this year. So I'm excited. I hope he does. I hope he gets his chance because everyone's like, my question is this: is like, honestly, I think he's better than Anthony Richardson. I think he's better than CJ Stroud. He outplayed CJ Stroud.
That's a good point.
Let's be honest. He outplayed CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, we saw the outcome of that game. And I think number wise, I think he's better than Anthony Richardson. I mean,
it's a matter
he's just not as physically gifted as those guys.
Exactly. Yeah, the ceiling of those guys is obviously higher. But if you need someone to step in week one and give you a chance, I mean, a guy who's much experience is Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, like I said, as far you look at physique wise, obviously Anthony Richardson's obviously better, but I think speed wise, he has speed, he has the agility. We've seen that a lot last year when he was in Georgia. So yep. I think for sure it's going to be something. If there's going to be a real chance he gets to play this year. Here's how the season will go. Some will win, some will lose, and at the end of the season, some will. Jesus Christ.
So TJ decided to give us the Booger McFarland analysis there. Tell us the obvious behind a veil of analysis there.
All right, before we could continue, I got a quick update on the game.
Oh, what do we got?
It is sitting at 114 to 103.
Nuggets?
Yes. What I told you, Jokic had to do was give 15 to 20, right? I told you that. He has 15 points now. He came through and he picked it up in the second half. I told you all he had to do was do 15. No, it's gonna be a 3-0 lead here shortly. I told you all he had to do was give 15 to 20 points, and he's done that. He did exactly what was necessary, and then LeBron James still shooting threes, and they're bricking.
TJ says if the Lakers win again, it's fake. Oh, they got the bubble year, that's for sure.
Listen. Anybody could have won that, okay? But if you take two great players like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and you give them 5 months off, guess what? We gonna win a championship too, and that's another 3 for Denver. I'm gonna win a championship too if you give me a 5-month layoff. What? As my age? Oh, cool. I get to rest up. I get to get my body back into shape. Like, get out of here. I'm not playing it. I'm not this nonsense. This is goofy.
I think the last rookie I would probably want to bring up as far as, a guy you wouldn't expect to win the job, but definitely has the potential. Chris Rodriguez in Washington. He's a running back, and he's only behind they're top picks for them recently, but Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. I really like what Robinson did last year. Definitely a physical, tough running guy. And Antonio Gibson's got a lot of talent, big, strong, can catch the ball. But Rodriguez is a grater. He can do the same thing Brian Robinson does, and I think he's a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he doesn't, get the third downs. He definitely won't get the third downs, but maybe he ends up taking the goal line work away from Robinson at some point. But he's maybe not the last, but one of the last rookies I could see a little bit further down on the depth chart that actually could win the starting job eventually.
Yeah.
So Nate,
But
Did
I
you
think
want to jump right into the next one, or did you have something else you want to bring up?
they're gonna start Sam Howell this year, right? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure he should get the start. Cause I mean, he looked good the last 2 games of the season.
I was glad he beat the Cowboys. That was nice.
He looked good the last 2 games of the season. So I think now he's going into a much better situation because they got Jahan Dotson, they have Scary Terry, they got a pretty solid wide receiving core, and plus the running game. So I think he's probably going to be out of say young quarterbacks, he's probably going to have one of the better situations.
Okay, he definitely is in a good. He has weapons.
Yeah, he definitely has a weapon, and he got a pretty decent defense. They're not bad. They'll keep you in the game. So if he plays decent and don't turn the ball over, they'll be fine.
So our next segment here, our final segment of the night, we wanted to talk about some of the more overrated and underrated fantasy football targets at this point. Obviously, we're a few months away from actual like training camp and really get into this thing. But if you're in dynasty leagues, especially, they're starting up soon, and even redraft will be here in August. So it's about time to learn who is fool's gold and who is the diamond in the rough. So without any further ado, I'll jump right into it. And Nate, you're gonna love my first pick as one of the most overrated players in fantasy football this season.
Okay.
Bijan Robinson.
What the fuck?
Is sitting at this is all according to fantasypros.com, by the way. So I should put that out there. If you want to check fantasypros.com, it's all available. But to me, in this situation where he's going to a team that was already number one in rushing last season because of what they got in guys like Tyler Algier and Cordero Patterson, I just don't, even if they want to force feed him carries, I can't see a scenario where he's better than guys like Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. I mean, those are the running backs that he's ranked ahead of right now in Fantasy Pros. And to me, that's insane.
We gotta also gotta look at it like this. So Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry were probably the top guys last year. Nick Chubb, he was about average. I think he'll be top 3 for sure. I think for sure he'll be top. Because you think about it, you're going to Arthur Smith's offense, so you're going to get touches. It's a run heavy. It's a run first offense. So he's going, and then not only is that they've been moving him around, they put him at wideout, so he's going to have opportunities to put points on for fantasy. So I disagree with that one. I disagree with that one. And not because it's a biased thing, but just based off the offense he's in, the system he's in, and how they're going to use him, I disagree with that one.
So if we were drafting tonight, right now, you would feel comfortable taking him ahead of those guys?
Ahead of Austin Eckler and Derrick Henry?
And Barkley.
I'd take him over Barkley.
And Chubb.
That's a tough one. That's hard. That's a hard question. Because Chubb's he's up and down. Some like because I had him on one of my fantasies last year, and there was a couple games where he was like out the fucking gate, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, easy. And there were some other games where we were sitting there with only 50 yards, no touchdowns, a fumble, and it didn't pan out for me. So that's a tough one. Taking him, I'd for sure take him over Barkley because Barkley health is always in question for me. But yeah, for sure, I'd for sure take him over Saquon.
TJ, he just loves to throw these teams out there. He's a big Jets fan all of a sudden now, and 76ers for life.
They're in Cancun right now, and the Lakers getting ready to join them after they're down 3-0.
I feel like without looking it up, TJ could name exactly one 76er in the history of the team. And I won't even give him that hint. I won't even give him that hint to see if he can put it up, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would have to disagree with you on that one.
Okay.
I think Bijan is going to be. I think he's probably going to finish the season probably top 3 in running backs.
There it is. He got it. He got Allen Iverson, folks. Don't worry. TJ knows AI. The next on the overrated list for me is a guy who did not play football last season due to gambling issues.
Oh yeah,
Calvin Ridley
I
checked
agree
in
with this one for
at
sure.
wide receiver 19, ahead of guys like Terry McLaurin,
What?
Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, and DeAndre Hopkins.
All right. So I'm gonna give you Keenan because Keenan Allen's health is always in question every year. He missed a lot of games. He missed a couple games last year with a hamstring injury. Um, so I'll give you that. But Scary Terry, fuck no, hell no, hell no, no. There's no scenario that I'm taking Kelvin Ridley before I take Terry McLaurin. There's no way. There's just no way. And just that's not even a question.
I mean, his own teammate who had a pretty good season last year, and they gave a lot of money, Christian Kirk, is wide receiver 31. So that's 12 spots behind Calvin Ridley.
Christian Kirk is he's
I understand he's not great, but he was the most targeted receiver for them last year.
they ain't have a choice. They ain't nobody else to throw the ball to. Everybody else is fucking butt cheeks. So shit, you had to throw the ball at him. You have a choice. But who are the people he's ahead of outside of Keenan Allen?
Terry McLaurin, DeAndre Hopkins.
What?
Who else was there? Tyler Lockett.
No,
and
no.
Mike Williams, Mike Evans.
They got him rated higher than those. Who they must have been on crack when they made this list.
I mean, I hate to ruin my underrated. I didn't even put him on there, but Mike Evans is all the way down at wide receiver 28. And that's a guy who has not
finished
the season with less than 1,000 yards.
I get why they did it because Tampa, they got Baker Mayfield. So I see why. I see how they're looking. They're predicting his fantasy, and they could end up that way with Baker, or unless they decide to say, you know what, let's go with this guy from Florida and Kyle Trask.
Finally, on my overrated list, it's not necessarily has to do with the player. It has to do with availability and quarterbacks. If Brock Purdy isn't in there, I don't know what we're going to get from Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, but George Kittle is a guy ranked at tight end 3 right now, and I have a tough time with it considering TJ Hawkinson finished the season the way he did last year. Darren Waller is now on a new team that's going to use him even more. Who else is here? Dallas Goedert, Kyle Pitts. I still think Kittle is up there in that conversation as a top tight end, but now you've got Hawkinson and Waller.
Was he healthy last year?
And he really wasn't healthy last year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think he was too healthy last year. So, yeah.
Would you rather have Hawkinson or Kittle this year?
Damn. I'm gonna say Hawkinson because of Kirk Cousins, because they have their quarterback. We don't know if Brock Purdy is going to be available at the beginning of the season. We don't know when he's going to be available. And then Trey Lance, we don't know how the hell Trey Lance is going to play after that injury. And then who they bring in? Who else did they bring in? That's it. That's all they have. So between them,
Darnold,
and then Sam Darnold. So yeah.
Do you like Waller better than either of those guys or no?
Huh?
Do you like Waller better than Hawkinson or no?
Yes. Do I like Waller better than Hawkinson? No. Only because of the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Because I trust Kirk Cousins more than I trust Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
So if Daniel Jones decides to make but the thing is, they don't have a lot of receivers either. Like, their receiver core is trash. So Darren Waller's probably gonna get a lot of targets. So he's gonna have to
Traded a 3rd-round pick for him.
Yeah, so he's gonna see a lot of activity as far as targets this year because they don't really have a great receiving core.
Right. So yeah, those are all my overrated players so far, and then we can jump right into my underrated players here. Checking in at the running back 13, behind guys like Brees Hall, who was cut short last year, Tony Pollard, who split time, Najee Harris. Who knows what we're gonna get out of him? Kenneth Walker had 2 guys drafted behind him. Checking in at running back 23, behind Dameon Pierce, even on the Houston Texans, is Joe Mixon for the Cincinnati Bengals.
You got him underrated?
23 behind Pacheco and Dameon Pierce.
I give you Dameon Pierce, but Pacheco, no.
Cam Akers is running back 20.
What? Cam?
Yeah.
For real?
J.K. Dobbins, running back 15.
I give you JK. I gotta give you dog. He played great last year. He wasn't like off the charts, but he did well last year.
Joe Mixon has played 6 seasons so far. Half of them have been 1,000 yards rushing, and he had the most targets and catches of his career last season.
Yeah, because
and they lost P. Ryan.
Oh well, I can see that. I can see him being underrated because they're gonna need him a lot.
Yeah.
But the thing, he doesn't. I mean, they don't run him. They don't use him like a workhorse because you got a plethora of other talented players around you that you don't have to. So you just got to come in, do your job, and then just try not to get hurt. I can see him being. I can give you that underrated.
Next up, checking in at running back 25 is Detroit Lions David Montgomery.
Nah, he's not underrated. That's gonna be David Montgomery is gonna be he's gonna be a guy like it's a bye week. I need a running back.
I mean, they brought him in pretty early in the process. They have no Jamal Williams or DeAndre Swift. I realize they drafted Jamar Gibbs. But still, I mean, David Montgomery has not rushed for less than 800 yards in his career. He had 54 catches 2 years ago and 42 in 2021. So it's a guy who can catch the ball and is physical. I know Dan Campbell loves that. And I just think even behind Mixon, obviously you're behind those guys we talked about, Dameon Pierce and whatnot. I hate it. I think they're going to really like his tenacity. I think he's going to be the goal line back for Detroit. And he's going to end up catching more passes than people think, and he's going to be.
That's going to be the shitty thing, because that's why I hate these running back by committee type shit. Like, because you take a guy like Jamal Williams last year.
Yep.
And you had DeAndre Swift. Everybody took DeAndre Swift. Everybody. If you had an opportunity to draft him, you took him, and guess what? You sat there and you felt like a fucking idiot because Jamal Williams had all the short yardage touchdowns. He had 15 touchdowns last year, and they were all less than 1 yard. Like, it's bullshit.
That is insane.
I think this is bullshit. Like, who does that? So with them, you just never know. Honestly, you just never know.
So I did mention Mike Evans, which I think was big because the guy, I know it's Baker Mayfield, but he's caught passes from Jameis Winston, from Ryan Fitzpatrick, from other not so great quarterbacks, and he's still never finished with less than 1,000 yards. So I do think, all the way down here at wide receiver 28 behind Drake London,
that's
behind, Jerry Jeudy. I do think that's too low for Mike Evans. But
that's disrespectfully low. That's disrespectfully low.
Chris Godwin's wide receiver 33, even lower.
Okay, I give you that one, but
he's been banged up.
But for Mike Evans to beat on, that's disrespectful. And he finished with 1,000 yards last year. That's disrespectful.
But yeah, my last underrated guy, I kind of like Christian Kirk, and Rashad White, really. DeAndre Hopkins is down here at wide receiver 25. And he's behind Jerry Jeudy, Christian Watson, who's going to have Jordan Love throwing to him, DJ Moore, who's going to have Justin Fields throwing to him. I get that he's older. I get that these guys are newer and they've got the flash, pizzazz, but, if DeAndre, especially if he gets traded somewhere to a contender with a good quarterback,
for sure.
Out.
I think he's gonna play for the Cardinals this year. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think he's getting traded.
He played 9 games last season and still had over 700 yards.
And that was after the suspension, right? Yeah.
After the suspension, Colt McCoy came in, Trace McSorley came in.
That's disrespectful. Whoever made these lists, you just intentionally being disrespectful at this point.
It's fantasy bros, man. I couldn't believe it.
Fantasy my ass. Y'all don't. No, that's disrespectful. Like, there's no way I would not rank Mike Evans. He's going to give you 1,000 yards. Doesn't matter who. He played with Jameis Winston for 5 years.
Yep.
No, he gonna give you exactly what you need.
So just to recap the list, my top 3 overrated: Bijan Robinson, Calvin Ridley, and George Kittle. My top 3 underrated: Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, and DeAndre Hopkins. Throwing Mike Evans in there as well.
Yeah, no, that's disrespectful. I feel like some people who make these lists shouldn't be allowed to talk sports.
I want to see where Michael Thomas is ranked on here.
He got to be at the very fucking bottom.
Yeah, all the way down at 51.
Good. That's right, exactly where he needs to be.
But there's a chance he could absolutely shoot up that list.
Get the fuck out of here.
If
with
he's
Derek Carr, with Derek Carr, and he just runs slants. No, he's not. No, that's.
What do you think about? I'm just asking random questions now, but did you like the Quentin Johnson to LA Chargers, the TCU big receiver?
It makes sense.
I like it because he's a lot like Mike Williams.
Exactly, and that's gonna be a problem. Like if he can hone in on what he already has and perfect that, they're gonna be a problem. But again, those receivers in LA, they got problems staying healthy.
Yeah,
Mike Williams dealt with he dealt with a knee and an ankle injury a lot last year. Keenan Allen, hamstring injury. The receivers under them, they were out constantly. So it's gonna be a health issue. It's gonna be a health thing. Can they all stay healthy? Can they all be on the field at the same time? Because Austin Eckler he's small, but he can only take so much punishment.
Yeah,
he can't carry that whole offense. Like, and I think that's one of the reasons why they fucking missed the playoff. They choked in that playoff game. It's like you relied a lot on Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams didn't show up.
I cannot believe what a performance that was. That was embarrassing.
That shit. I went to the movies and I looked at the score and they were blowing the Jags out. I'm like, cool, this game's over. For me to leave and open my phone and look at Bleacher and to see that you lost that game, you got to be fucking. That is embarrassing. That's worse than what we did. Like, you were smoking them. I think the two worst blown leads last year were the Colts and Vikings, and the Jags and Chargers.
Oh yeah, forgot about that game. Wow.
Yeah, that had to be the two worst blown leads. Like, who does that?
So bad.
This shit was awful. So, I think it's gonna be a good fit, but again, it's gonna go back. Can they all stay healthy?
Yeah.
Can that training staff keep their receivers on the field?
Speaking of staying healthy, I can't believe I didn't mention this to you yet, but I nearly broke my ankle this morning.
How the hell you managed to do that?
We have this part of our walkway out back where the grass is not even with the walkway.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to fill it in for the longest time now because I've been telling myself I'm going to kill myself. And sure enough, today, a delivery person showed up and I had the dog out there. I stepped to the side. Got halfway on, halfway off, rolled that shit like I did back in junior year of high school. Oh my God, dude, I haven't heard a pop like that since football.
Jesus. Yeah, you're gonna
I'm
feel a hole.
I'm limping all around. I'm seeing, everything's going white. Like I guess my wife said this, the greenest she's seen me in like forever. Like I turned green. I thought I was gonna pass out. Like it was horrible, dude. But
Yeah, you gotta
something
get that
about
fixed.
riding to urgent care with your mother-in-law, I guess, wakes you right up. I said, you know what? Never mind. Just give me a brace and we'll go home.
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, you might want to go ahead and fill that up really quick.
So yeah, thankfully my coach, back in the day, rice, rest, ice, compression, elevation. I'm
Yeah,
doing all
that's
those
all it
things.
takes. That is all it takes. You let it sit for too long, it should have swell up, and you really have a problem.
Yeah. So luckily, it's not broken. Maybe I tore an ACL, but I'm a tough. I'm Philip Rivers out here. I'll keep throwing passes. I'm good. What's latest on the NBA there, sir?
Well, Lakers are officially down 3-0. I think the Heat and Celtics game 3 is tomorrow. So we could have two sweeps coming shortly.
Man,
Because again, the Lakers were 6-0 coming into the game at home. So they lost their first home game of the playoffs, and then you gotta somehow save face. You gotta win game 5. You gotta win game 4. You can't get swept at home.
no.
If you do, then this is it. This is it for the Lakers. Because I'm telling you, watching this game, they look tired. They
And
look
it's not some ragtag bunch that barely made it. Like this is a carefully assembled team.
This is a Denver Nuggets team that's been so close every year. They lose to the Warriors. They lose in the second round. They keep losing, and they kept fighting back. And then finally, you get into the bubble. Jamal Murray's playing out of his goddamn mind, and then he tears his ACL, and then he missed 2 years. And then, he comes back. He's finally healthy. Jokic is still healthy. The rest of the team, you finally build a good supporting cast, and there's nothing to stop them. Honestly, I said this: Denver's the best team left in the playoffs. They're the best overall team left in the playoffs. There's the Lakers. The Lakers are old, and you can see it. Like, why if you watch this Lakers game, you can see the age. You can see they're tired. They're exhausted. LeBron is not moving like he'll get a burst of energy here and there, but that's why he's doing that. That's why he'll catch it at half court, run up to the 3-point line and shoot the three because he's tired. That's all he got. Like he can't keep taking people to the hole. His body can only take so much.
He's still, defensively, he's still a very impressive player.
He's slow. He's a little slow in that. He don't have that same step that he used to have. He'll like I said, he'll catch you slipping. He'll catch you with a chase down block if you're not paying attention. But he's the age. Like it's fine. It's Father Time is finally showing up on him.
Yeah.
And you're running low. You're running low on field, and he looked tired. You look every bit of 40. That's for sure.
If this is it, if this is the time, which it may not be, he might go a few more seasons. But if this is the time,
he can't go a few more seasons. He don't have a few more seasons in him. Like you can play Father Time for so long. At some point, he gonna fucking catch you, and it's catching up to. I think the first year he missed a couple games with injury because he went his entire career without getting injured. And then, he started getting injuries. He had the groin issue, the knee issue, ankle issues, back issues. At the time, like you could only do so much recovery for your body ages. Like your mind can say one thing, but your body's going to tell you another.
my ankle will tell you that.
So, you can put $1 million into your body, but at the same time, you're talking about an 82 game season. You're on the road, off the road. You're gone weeks at a time. There's time change, sleep schedule changes. It at some point is gonna catch you. And he looks tired. He looks tired. He doesn't look the same. He looks tired. Anthony Davis is built like fiberglass. You can't rely on him. He Mr. Inconsistent. He had 28 tonight. He might come back and score 10 next game. You just don't know with Anthony Davis. And Dennis Schroeder, there's another one. Yeah, shit. You don't know what you'll get from him. D'Angelo Russell, they could have left him with the Timberwolves. I don't know why they brought him back, but he'll make he'll have a couple good plays in the first quarter, then he'll fucking disappear, and then he's gone for the rest of the game. You don't know where he at. So,
well, I just wanted to say, if this is the last game, I mean, he's been in the game over 20 years, and just like with Tom Brady, I mean, I'm going on 33 this September. So LeBron James has been amazing since I was about 12, 13 years old. So just like with Tom Brady, it's been an absolute pleasure, honor, amazing. Who knows if we'll ever see it again. I don't care about the whole LeBron versus Jordan thing. I just want to take LeBron for what he is. He's an amazing fucking player all around, defense, offense, and just people are going to talk shit. It's recency bias. It's the latter half of his career. He's been so good for so long. The asterisk on the bubble, the this to that. But
that's one. Like I'm gonna give him credit where credit is due. He's a great player. Like he's dominated this league for as long as he has, and in the fashion that he's done it, there's nothing like him. But I'm that bubble that asterisk is gonna be there. That's for sure. No, because you can't. Again, my argument is this: if you think about this, if Jordan was still playing, right, and it was like, fuck it, we got to take 5 months off. You don't think he gonna win a championship? You give me 5 months to rest. I don't have to play the full 82 season, so you cut the season in half. You give us 5 months off. We got to come back and play 10 or so games, and we don't have to travel because we're in Orlando. We're in this fucking bubble. I don't have to travel. I'm the only traveling I do is from my room to the courts. Really? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I'd win a championship too. You really didn't have a choice. You had to win. So yeah, that asterisk is going to be there. That next to number 4, that asterisk will be there for sure.
It was strange times indeed. What else you got?
I ain't got nothing else,
I get you fired up when we talk about LeBron.
No, he's been a great player for 20 plus years, and if this is it. It was a fun ride. So that's how you look at it.
It's weird. It's weird when a career as long lasting, as amazing like that just ends.
I mean, you got to.
You see it coming though.
You don't want to be Brett Favre.
That's gonna be it for us, guys. Thank you so much for joining us as we talk NFL, we talked NBA, we talked WNBA. We didn't talk NHL, but there's still time for that. You been following hockey? I know you have.
Yeah, I did. I followed hockey for a little bit. I was a little disappointed with the Kraken. Ever since they came in, I was like, I needed a reason to follow hockey. So I was like, I'll follow them. And fucking Stars, all they're gonna do is choke like they did last time. So we'll see how it plays out.
Thank you so much for joining us. You can find us on Facebook at Mostly Football Pod. You can find us on YouTube at Mostly Football Podcast. I think it's like 95-something-02. It's in the link. You can find it. Just search Mostly Football Podcast. We'll show up. We're famous. We're the largest rising football podcast right now. Nate, I'm Effers. See you next time.
Yes, sir.